it's more and more likely that the answer is in there somewhere. So we get smarter as a community, even if individually no single one of us is anywhere near omniscient or even particularly smart.
Yeah. One last thought here, which is that in pursuing these conversations that I have with, as you know, many people across a great many disciplines, we're just doing something about aging, for example, asking leading experimentalists and theorists in the field if there is a standard, if there is an agreed upon theory of aging, if we all agree that there's a natural cap on our human lifespan, if there's a use-by date and so on. And the answers are all over the place. There's no generally agreed upon business there. If we talk about how scientific theories are approved by the community of scientists, you know, you can have the people who still think that Tom Kuhn had some validity, and there are these paradigm shifts, and suddenly the normal science shifts. There are people who use the phrase that you used about falsifiability, which comes from Karl Popper and so on, and the Popperian and Kuhnian views are frequently at odds. So I think the point I was making about the public perception of science is that if there is this apparent inchoateness, this disarray, this, I don't know what, why should we be expected to know what's going on as well if they don't?
Right. Well, you're getting a biased sample when you look at the frontiers of science, or the cutting edge. People are working on exactly the topics where we have the least certainty. Otherwise, there'd be no point in working on them. So when you look at the cutting edge, you're ignoring the kind of the heft of the back of the axe, that of all of the knowledge that was controversial 50 years ago, but kind of have settled down since then.
There are a couple of books that have come out that have roughly the same title. One was by Ramoni Cajal, one was by Peter Medawar, and they're both sort of advice to a young scientist.
Ah, yeah, right.
What would your advice to a young scientist be?
Know your own strengths and weaknesses. Study yourself, your history of what excites you, what you're really good at, and try to match yourself to some area of science or some niche that matches your own portfolio of talents. Science, blessedly, is an eclectic enterprise. There are some people who are wizards at experimentation, others who are modelers, others who are theoreticians. Scientists have to be able to do all of those to some extent, but the weightings of the different parts of the portfolio differ by field, by subfield, and by topic. Know what you're good at, what gets you out of bed in the morning with that sense of excitement, and try to match yourself to the sub-discipline where those gifts can best be put to use.
Now, did you follow your own advice?
Yeah, I did. I picked cognitive psychology, which is an empirical field, but one that probably has more theory than a lot of other fields in psychology, but isn't a purely theoretical enterprise either. And I consider myself someone interested both in theory and data, in cosmic questions like what is human nature, but also in nitty-gritty empirical questions like how do kids learn irregular verbs. And I picked a field in which I could put both of those interests to use.
Optimistic about the state of science at this point?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm extremely optimistic.
Stephen Pinker, thanks very much.
Thanks, Roger.